Well, I was just driving along and taking notice of all the vineyard that's out in this country. And happened to look over in the other direction and we get out of this wind and spotted that plume down there, and that is that's actually coming from the Hanford Nuclear Reservation. That don't look good, does it? See if I can zoom in on that. Build bombs back during World War II. Victor Carrillo. You and I have a little meeting over here. Look at some of these trees. Leave the dog alone. Leave the poor dog alone. Let's look at this one right here. Some of these, Victor, these little ones, it's going to be easy to break them out. Maybe. Some of them. Sometimes. That's a good union there. But
some of this,
yeah, so you need to caution these guys about that. That one's okay, but what do you think about maybe having them leave these for you and do a whip graft on them? What do you think about that? So I just want you, you know, these little ones, you just gotta watch them, Victor. Careful with them. What are you thinking?
If they're gonna leave it, I'm gonna have to come back. If I'm going ahead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how best to, make it efficient.
Do you have any small wood?
Yeah. There's some pretty small wood. Yeah. Well, I know Victor can do a whip graft, but they're pretty small. But it's small, but it's good. It's good, solid wood. Anyway, just wanted to mention those little suckers. Most of it's okay, Here's another one. It's kind of on the small side, but they seem to be strong enough. Yeah, you can get a little whip graft on. I mean, a little side graft on that. Yeah. Well, it's too late. Go down on the side.
It's easy to break it.
Yeah.
If it's longer.
Well, you can just go down on the side, but I mean, unless you want me to go through here and recut all of them.
Not necessary. Well, if they grow, they gotta cut them back. Because then it's gonna grow.
Yeah, that's true. There's your bud on there. So, yeah. Well, it's only the little ones. The bigger ones you can do up on top, but these, it's going to be harder. I don't know. Just get started, I guess, and if we need to make an adjustment, if I have to go through and cut them. But we got to get this done tomorrow. We've got to be in Yakima. I think I can get another helper tomorrow.
For here?
For here.
Well, we're going to need it.
Okay. I'll tell Robin. She's got a friend she works with that wants to work. She said she's a workhorse. So
yeah, at least 2 painters.
Yeah.
And then.
Well, in Salvador, he can help paint. We need to, but he's cutting down. You want to keep him cutting down, or you want to stop? I think you want to come look at the wood and meet Salvador and. Yeah, those are pretty long. I told them 6 inches, but that's 10 inches. Yeah, they left them 10. But not everything. The big one's okay, but yeah, no, that's no good.
You can put a sign right here and a sign right here.
Yep.
Because up here.
Oh, I know. They're just too long. Well, if I have to recut them, I will. But
look at the sign. For bar graft.
Yeah, that's bark grafting. Yeah. That's why you don't bark graft cherries. These are the ones I cut. Well, I cut this row.
Oh.
Most of it.
It's shorter.
Yeah. Okay. So, want me to go back through all of them?
Yo pienso que sí, because this is pretty big wood.
Well, there's a lot of small wood in there though too. I got a lot of wood here. This is good wood. It's small, but it's good. Solid. So we have to do some whip grafts. And that's tough. Now, maybe I'll go back through them. It's going to take me a while. I better get Robin stopped because she's cutting them too tall. All right, we'll figure it out. Get started and see what kind of adjustment we need to do, I guess. Okay, thanks, boss. I can tell how vigorous a tree is by the bark, by looking at the bark. And on cherries, if it's a vigorous growing tree, it'll have this nice brown color to it. This is good brown wood. A nice brown colored bark. And then when you look up in the top, you'll see all that that growth up there, the new growth, the new shoots. And that tells me there's a lot of vigor in this tree, and that's what I look for when we want to graft cherry trees, is that how much vigor is it, and will it heal up, and will it grow well. And cherry trees are tricky. So once cherry trees get about 10, 12 years old, then they get real hard to graft. I mean, as far as a percentage of take, they're just not very successful, and they're not dependable. You could put, when a tree's older cherry tree, 12, 15 years old, you could put 8 or 10 grafts on it, and you might get 6 of them to grow on one tree, and then the next tree might have 1 grow on it. So you just never know, and it's not worth the risk. So I don't graft older cherry trees anymore. Just don't want to see the job go bad. I have some guys try to talk me into it once in a while, but I have to stand my ground. So I'm going to walk over here to another orchard and show you some trees that are too old to graft, and then the solution for that when they get that old. I have developed a process, I guess you'd say, not really a technique because it's the same technique, but just a different way of doing cherry trees once they get too old. And I'm going to show you that. But right now, I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as the vigor in the tree. And this one just doesn't have it. You see up there, there's some real little spindly growth, but nothing like those big healthy shoots that were on the other tree that I showed you. And look at the bark. On this old bark, this cherry tree, the old bark starts to turn kind of red. Once you get inside that, cut that down, the wood's just not going to be healthy inside. You can tell by looking at it. And these trees would just not be successful to graft. So what I'm doing now with growers that want to graft these older trees is I have them cut them down in the spring. Go right in here and just cut them down. And you know, that tree there, you can tell it's just not hardly putting on any growth at all. So we have them just cut them down there and grow suckers, grow new wood on them. And that's what we did over here. Guy called me down here last year and asked if I could graft these trees, and they look just about like these. And I said, no, you don't want to do that. It's too risky. So what I had him do was cut them down last spring. And then all summer last year, they grew suckers on them. I forgot to take video before we cut them off, but I've got some pictures. So you see here, what we're grafting onto is the suckers that grew on these trees. And the suckers are good, healthy wood. And I can show you over here what it looks like before we put the grafts on. There's there you can see the graft. Here's one. We're putting about 4 on each one. I had him single them down to 4 suckers on each tree, and what that does is allows the suckers to size up big enough that we can graft onto them. And here it is, and that's perfect, and that's beautiful, and that's good brown wood, and I know there's a lot of vigor in that, so I know they will graft well. And those trees over there, if we cut those down and graft them, I could not guarantee anything. And I just really wouldn't even do the job, because if I can't stand behind it, I don't want to do it. So these I can guarantee them, and I'm guaranteeing him 3 leaders out here. Leaders are primary scaffolds, whatever you want to call them, but the primary structure of the tree, the first part of the limbs. And 1, 2, 3. That's going to be a good balanced tree, but we're grafting 4. One more just kind of for some insurance in case one doesn't take, doesn't graft, or in case the wind breaks one out. But we'll get 3 good shoots off of them. So if they did not single them down, if they just let all the suckers grow, you can see the ones they cut off. I mean, they're everywhere. They cut a lot of suckers off this thing, so it was just bushy. It was just a big bush. But if you leave them like that, you won't get this diameter. You won't get this caliper that we need to make the graft onto. Nice to have about 1 inch. We can do these smaller ones, but it's a little tougher. If you've got about, well, these are okay, but if you've got a good 1 inch in diameter, that's even better. Makes a good strong graft. So by singling those shoots down to 3 or 4, then they start to caliper up. They start to size up and get so that we can graft them. And the trees that are not cut back here, you see, are pollinizer trees. That's some other variety. I don't know what it is, but we're putting on here coral champagne cherry, and I don't know much about that cherry. It's kind of a newer one, but apparently it needs a pollinizer, so they've left these trees in here to pollinate. Pollinize. I hear it that term both ways. Pollinators or pollinizers. So at the end of this year, these trees will look just like the ones I showed you in the other block that we had grafted. We'll have three good leaders. So this is the system that we use, or the process that we use to graft trees when they get too old, to just cut them down and graft them the same year. Cut them down, grow new wood, graft onto the new wood, you will be successful. Well, I'm hoping that I can hang on to this job. So I asked Victor yesterday if I was doing okay. He said, yeah, I've been on a chainsaw all day, pretty much non-stop. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna give you a raise. I'm gonna give you 25 cents an hour. So I hope he don't take my raise away. Because I went over there and did all that cut all those suckers down and get them ready to graft. And when I got done, I walked straight over to him and said, well, what do you want me to do now? And he said, I need you to cut wood. I said, well, can I take a little break? He says, you can take a break tonight after we get home, and you can take a break. So I don't know if I'm gonna lose my 25 cents an hour raise or not. I used to know a guy to do that. Give these guys 10 cents an hour, 15 cents an hour raise, but I never give a guy less than $1 or $2. I mean, if you're gonna give a guy a raise, give him a raise. Give him like $2, you know, and show him you appreciate him a little bit. $2 or $3, or even $5, you know, but not 10 cents. he used to give his guys 15 cents an hour raise. That's an insult, man. That shows you what they think of you. Somebody gives you a 10-cent an hour raise. I'd probably quit. If somebody keep me a 10-cent an hour raise, I'd rather not have a raise. Boy. Well, this is Saturday. We're going to be back out here tomorrow because we've got to be in Yakima Monday morning. And we thought we might get part of the day off tomorrow, but we got out here late today because of having to finish that other job, because of having people not show up, and that's just all part of the game, you know. Nothing new. Well, I was talking the other day about how you have to be very careful of your footing out here when you're chainsawing in these orchards. And I was showing the twine that you can get tangled up in, and I mentioned drip irrigation. Well, here it is. This is what you got to watch for. It can sure mess you up on a chainsaw. And I've been working around this brush and stuff in the orchard and these drip irrigation lines and whatnot for so long that, you know, I've fallen more than once. And it just gets to be an instinct that when you start to go down, you throw that saw. Get it way out in front of you. Get it away from you. You know, you just don't want to fall on it. So it becomes second nature after a while.